Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to go through a free hit stroke wildcard for game week 38. It is the last game week, so whichever chips you have you need to now use or you will lose it. We're going to go through the side I've put together, look at options at the end, so stick around for that. So if you enjoy those sort of videos, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime let's take a look. This is my free hit side then, or wildcard. It pretty much amounts to the same thing for game week 38. The main difficulty I have with this side is just trying to predict who is going to start in game week 38. There's very few players where I think they're absolutely nailed. I wouldn't have any problems whatsoever playing them, other than the two sides which have something to play for, which is only a handful of them, and then not necessarily the matches I want to be targeting. It is quite difficult. So this is 15 players. I do think we need 15 because unless we get that early team news, we're not going to be sure who's playing. But I've started off with Alisson in goal. He's got a good fixture away at Southampton, who aren't scoring many goals. Could I guarantee even he's going to play, even though he's played every game this minute of the season? Even then, I do think possibly there's going to be a chance of rotation with him. Just give the reserve keeper Kelleher maybe a run out. But I've gone for Alisson in goal. But for that reason, I do think I want to do a backup goalkeeper, and that would be Ramsdale. The chances of both of those getting benched seems really harsh. I don't think it's going to happen. You could definitely go for Sam Johnson. I think he's more likely to definitely play. But those two should have you covered. Both good fixtures against teams that are a little bit goal shy. I like him. And I think Ramsdale, with that final game of the season at home, they had such a great season, Arsenal. I think he'll want to have and give those players a reward of that final home game. Second place is already in the bag. Yes, they would love to have won the Premier League. It wasn't to be, but it's still a great season for Arsenal. Into that defence then, we know that Tsimikas might play because of Robertson's injury, so I think therefore really Trent's position and an experimental way of playing in midfield, given his attacking returns, I think he has to play. He's the most expensive defender in the game, but he's absolutely worth it. When you look at his XGI, he is the most attacking defender, and he's more or less playing as a midfield. Good chance as well as a clean sheet. I think Trent's absolute must-have for this match, for the last game of the season. Looking elsewhere then, what else do we have in defence? I think Luke Shaw, he is a doubt, so you could possibly move to another Manchester United defender, but 5.2, again, playing attacking now. He's playing as a fullback at home to Fulham. I like him. If he's fit, I think he plays and he starts. If there's any doubt about him, I think they'll just rest him completely. So I've got Shaw on my side. I'm going to play him. I don't think he's likely to come off the bench because I just don't think they'll risk him. 0.17, I don't think that gives the full story of the expected goal involvement, because he's playing as a fullback at the moment, whereas the rest of the large chunks of the season he's been playing as a centre-back, and his expected goal involvement has gone down. So I think he's a better player than that, and he doesn't often love those bonus points as well. He eats those up for breakfast. So alongside Trent and Shaw, we spent quite a bit of money going for Emerson. Now they do have possibly a Europa Conference League spot to play for, so 4.8 million. He's quite a nice cheap option in that Spurs defence. Leeds possibly without Bamford and Rodrigo, but I know that they're still going to be desperate to win that game. I don't think it'll be easy, but I do think there'll be opportunities for Tottenham, and he's about the most attacking Tottenham defender, so I think he's pretty much nailed in that Tottenham side. Clean sheet possibly. Be a little bit surprised if Leeds don't score in that game, given how desperate they are, but who knows, last day of the season, crazy results, and Leeds are down there for a reason. So Emerson definitely is on my list of players, not for long term, would not have brought him in before now, but last day, 1 week punt, yeah, I quite like him, and he's really lowly owned. Estepinian played pretty much every game since game week 13. He looks so attacking and aggressive going forward. Not many other options for Brighton elsewhere in that position as well, so his place looks pretty assured. Aston Villa away, not the easiest fixture, but can they keep a clean sheet? Definitely. And any repeat of that 17-point haul at Arsenal would be more than welcome. Making up then the last place, I think I'm bound to say this wrong, Kiwior in defence, 4 million, really cheap, not much attacking return, but at home to Wolves, I'm happy to double up with Ramsdale and Kiwior, 4 million, brilliant price. Yeah, I'm happy to bring him in. Cross that midfield then, the benefit of having some of these cheapest players you will see later on. I have doubled up on Brighton. I think I've got Mitoma. I just think he's had a brilliant season. He seems pretty nailed in that midfield as well. Have to keep an eye on those early team sheets because he did play in midweek. It could be his turn to get rotated, but he's just picking up points all the time. So I love Mitoma in there. And then alongside him, yeah, he was rested in midweek. I've got to go with McAllister as well. He's on pens, which just kind of gives, I don't know, sort of sways it for me. I almost prefer McAllister to Mitoma. Not the easiest fixture, but McAllister just loves getting forward, loves getting a shot in. His stats terms of shots on goals, pretty impressive. 4.4, really cheap. Not many other players, maybe one which will be on this list in a minute, come into the side. So McAllister gets the nod for me. Then we move across. We've got 3 Brighton players, even though the fixture's not great, I don't think. But then we go into Rashford. I think he has to come in at home to Fulham, get some more minutes into his legs ahead of the FA Cup. He played 60 plus minutes in midweek, scored. He's just been brilliant. 30 goals this season. Wow. As a midfielder, playing up front, Man U, good fixture. I don't think I want to go without Rashford for the last game of the season. Then we move across into that midfield, and the other player that I looked at around that 5.6 price point is Eze. He's been really effective. Got the call up to the England side as well. Good price point. Possibly on penalties now too with Zaha being out. Good fixture. Yeah, I think lowly owned, have to be. Good differential. Eze comes in. And finally, I don't think I'd want to go into the last game of the season without him with such a good fixture. Has to be Mo Salah. He's the most expensive player in the game, but his XGI backs that up. On pens, scoring goals. Pretty much nailed, and I'd say only pretty much, because you just don't know the last game. They've got nothing to play for, Liverpool. Likes of Firmino, maybe Keita, don't know, Oxlade. They all might get a run out being their last game, so possibly we'll have to wait and see. But you'd think Mo Salah would still be a part of that. 13.1, he could run right away at Southampton, so he definitely gets the nod in that midfield. And then moving up front then, as you can see so far, pretty much all these players are going to be involved. You'd hope. I just anticipate some of these are going to drop out through rotation, so you need 15 players. Kane, obvious reason, he comes in, nailed up front. I don't think they've got any other options. He'll definitely play. He'll just want to score goals. Away at Leeds at some point are going to have to score, so they're going to have to come out of their shell, and Kane only needs half a chance. I do think he's a good captaincy option as well. Alongside Kane, reaping the benefits, I think, of the rotation, we've got Alvarez, 6.1, great price, rested midweek. You would have thought he then therefore gets a game in this match here, possibly in the FA Cup final as well, Alvarez. Pep talks about that game rhythm, so they'll want to get more minutes under his legs. Up front, great price for a Man City player playing up front, decent fixture. Alvarez comes in and completing the whole shooting match then. I'm going to go with Wilson. So there isn't a Haaland in this side. You could look to go from Kane to Haaland, that is an option. I'm just not sure of his minutes. And Wilson, away at Chelsea, I'm not sure that's a red fixture anymore. He's on pens, playing down the middle. I actually think I prefer Isak, but not when it comes to FPL. Too far out wide. And Wilson down the middle, just getting more opportunities, more chances on pens. So that is my 15. How that works in terms of my 11, we'll have a look at. And then what other options we got. The total squad value is under 100, so you might have quite a bit more to play with. You might not just have 100, you might have more. I think I'd start with Alisson away at Southampton. I'm tempted to bench Kiwior, McAllister, Mitoma. I'm not sure whether I possibly would go Kiwior instead of Wilson. That's the only other option I might want to do. Don't mind. I more prefer going with that back five. I know if you're more aggressive, perhaps you want to go for the points in Wilson. I can understand that. Looking at different options then, Son is a real nice differential, so he could come in. You could go downgrade Salah if you want to. You could look at Trent and maybe bring Tsimikas in if he plays, or even Robinson to release cash to move up from Rashford to Son. That could be an option. We know how devastating Son could be. That could be a nice one to have in your side. Other options as well. Evan Ferguson, if he plays up front away at Villa, we know how great he's been. You'd have to drop maybe the likes of McAllister or Mitoma, but he would be a really nice differential as well. And then also looking at that Liverpool fixture away, already relegated Southampton, I think Gakpo looks good for minutes. 7.6, he could definitely come in, and he could be a differential. The other player as well, I think Bobby Firmino, if we get a chance or word that he starts, I think he could be a real good differential option for his farewell swan song. Would he let him take a penalty as well? Who knows? That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know if you are free hitting or using your wildcard for game week 38, and who do you think you're going to bring in? Who do you captain as well? We'll come back at you with a team selection before the deadline, which is of course tomorrow, so don't get caught out by that. In the meantime, have a great game week 38. I hope you achieve everything you wanted to do. You've won your mini leagues, get those differentials, get the best overall rank you can. And if I don't speak to you soon, take care. Goodbye.